Hello and welcome back everyone. You might be wondering what the title of this video even means. Well, luckily for you, I just so happen to have made an entire video explaining that very thing. But before I get into that, I want you to hop into the comments and tell me what you think it means for yourselves. There are no wrong answers unless they're woefully incorrect, and then in that case you would be wrong. I can't stop that. But that's all right. We're all wrong every once in a while, so don't worry about it too much. All right, now that you've definitely done what I've asked and not just waited until I kept talking, let's get into it. So what is comfort food? According to the Oxford Dictionary, comfort food is, and I quote, food that provides consolation or a feeling of well-being, typically any with high sugar or other carbohydrate contents and associated with childhood or home cooking. It's the idea of food that will make you feel safe or at ease, make you feel comfortable. My go-to comfort food would probably be something like my mom's potato salad or chocolate chip cookies. I grew up eating both of those, and I can remember hot summer days where the family would barbecue, and I knew that it meant I got to eat both of those foods. Pretty sweet deal. Now, I didn't come here to talk about actual food, although I could go for some right now. Runescape is comfort food. What a dumb statement, but hear me out. I've been contemplating the idea of games as comfort for a while, and it dawned on me that RuneScape is that game for many people. Now, comforting games is not something new. There's games that are specifically designed to be comforting, like Stardew Valley, Minecraft, Terraria, etc. These games were all designed with an aspect of comfort in mind, not pushing the player too hard mechanically or asking them to endeavor on some action-packed quest. Except for like late game Terraria, which gets fucking crazy. These games can be picked up and played for a few hours, enjoyed as simply as that. But these games are not the ones that I'm referring to when I say RuneScape, and by my definition, other games are comforting. And we all know what I'm about to say next. While RuneScape isn't my game for comfort, I know that it is that game for many other people. Yeah, I'm the guy who doesn't play RuneScape, I fucking get it. But seriously, I have my own comfort games that I can load up, play for a bit, not touch them for months or even years. The best example I can give of this kind of game for myself is Diablo 3. I fucking love Diablo 3. I've been playing that game on and off since it came out back in, let me check out, 2012. If you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go jump off a bridge in game. Fuck, that came out over a decade ago. God damn it. Okay, back on track. Diablo 3 for me is that comfort. I can load up D3 in any season, make my character almost always a witch doctor. Please, Blizzard, bring back witch doctor in Diablo 4, I'm begging you. And I can have a mindlessly great time slaughtering thousands of demons and undead while chilling, watching YouTube, or AFKing some skills. It's a game that wasn't intended to be comforting, but to me it absolutely is. Now, that's enough rambling about my game. I'm sure I'll talk about it a little bit later as well, but let's talk about RuneScape for a second, because that's why most of you clicked on the video to begin with. RuneScape is comforting for many people. I've touched on it a bit in some of my previous video essays with the ideas of nostalgia, music, familiarity, that kind of thing. Those all play key roles in creating comfort, but what I think really sets certain games apart from one another is the ability to pick up right where you left off. Now, in any game, as long as you're saving frequently, you can just pick up right where you left off. That's correct. Yes, but RuneScape is a game where you can spend literally thousands of hours on a single goal, so taking breaks is necessary for most people. If you compare that to getting max level in a traditional MMO, where it would take you maybe a few dozen hours, RuneScape's exponential time investment demands taking breaks. At least in my opinion, it does. But there is a reason why people keep coming back to RuneScape over and over and over again. Maybe it's to achieve their dream account or finally take down the Inferno, or maybe it's to just bank stand at the GE. Regardless of what it is you end up doing, you end up coming back. And the game is largely the same. New things will be added for sure, but the core of the game, that point and click medieval game that we all grew up playing, is still at its core the same game. One that you will spend hundreds of hours skilling or bossing or just getting to that next piece of gear or next level. Maybe life got in the way for a while, or you just wanted to take a break from the game. Just know that the next time you load up, it will be someone trying to scam you out of your money, just like back in the day when we were little kids and didn't know any better. Trust me, it'll take you right back. One of the biggest aspects of these games being comfort food is the mindless nature you can have while playing them. Like I mentioned before, I turn my brain off when I play Diablo 3. I usually just look up whatever powerful build is current for this season, copy it verbatim, and just kill. It's really that simple. Zero thoughts are flowing through my head. RuneScape is a game where people literally will look for the most AFK methods. Not only is mindless activity a part of RuneScape, it's welcomed and sought after. These methods of training are not generally the fastest, but they're simple, reliable, and can be picked up after any period of time. Doing AFK tasks in RuneScape is a huge draw for many people, because sometimes it's nice to just sit back and let the game do stuff for you. Hell, I'm AFKing right now. I'm working on Slayer for another video down the line as I'm writing the script. I'm still getting used to the idea of just leaving my character alone and doing something else, but don't worry, I'll get there eventually. The set it and forget it mentality is something that permeates in the RS community. Seriously, if you listen to any RuneScape creators, there will be at least one time where they mention AFKing a skill while they're editing or doing other real-world productive things. This goes hand in hand with the attention, but these games are not generally very demanding. And what I mean by that is unless you're trying to do endgame content, raids, high-level quests, whatever that is in RuneScape, or if you're, say, pushing greater rifts in Diablo 3, the game doesn't really require you to keep up and practice. If you've grown up with these games, your muscle memory from your past generally will be enough to keep you in the game just fine. A perfect example of games that have very high demand but can still be comforting for people are the Souls games. And with the release of the new Elden Ring DLC, boy fucking howdy does that game demand a lot from the player. My muscle memory was non-existent walking into the DLC, and I got fucking owned. Like a lot. Like a lot. But if you've played RuneScape for thousands of hours, you aren't just going to forget how to play. That is honestly ingrained into your soul at this point. Just like with how Diablo 3 is second nature to me, RuneScape is second nature for many people. The idea of a fallback game, or all reliable as I call it sometimes, is a game that you can keep coming back to over and over and over again. And maybe when there's nothing else to play, you only have a handful of minutes that you can game, you can always count on these games to be there in your time of need, like a good neighbor. Now, I'm going to say something insane and maybe even a little blasphemous. No, not that one. Great game, by the way. League of Legends is that game for me and my friends. As some of you may know, I started making my YouTube videos with League content, just me and my friends fucking around on ARAM. Now, I've sunk more hours into League than I can even count. I'm way too far gone to stop now. Truly, I've been playing this game for over a decade. And anytime there's a new champ or some weird change, it does not faze me, because I know at the end of the day, I'm still going to be hitting the same 8 or so buttons I've been using for literally thousands of hours. Veteran RuneScape players probably feel the same exact way. There's going to be some updates, new things that are added, but at the end of the day, it's still the same old game that you grew up with. Now, this is something I want to touch on for just a second, because I do think it's important, but I don't think it's as important as some people might think. I don't think nostalgia is the end-all be-all reason for why a certain game can stick with a person. Maybe I'm in the minority when saying I don't really have nostalgia for League or Diablo 3. I have nostalgia for games like Jak and Daxter, Kingdom Hearts, Crash Bandicoot. And I think the reason for that is because I don't play any of those games anymore. I still play League, I still play Diablo 3, and I still play RuneScape. It's harder for me to imagine having nostalgia for a game that I played about a month ago. To me, nostalgia kicks in when you forget about something and then suddenly remember how it made you feel back in the day. I don't know if that rings true for anybody else, but that's just my personal feeling. I can remember older seasons of Diablo and League and remember how I felt, but it's not quite the same. I get a certain, for lack of a better term, like warm fuzzy when I remember beating the on-end minigame in Jak 2. That shit took me a literal fucking week. I was a kid, okay? Just cut me some slack. I don't think nostalgia is as important as people might think. It is definitely a big factor in creating that idea of comfort because it does take you back to when you were a kid and more comfortable, generally. But for me, these games that I keep coming back to and back to and back to don't have nostalgia because I am almost always playing them, or at least have played them within the last month or so. the consistent exposure to these different games prevents my nostalgia from kicking in. Or, you know, maybe I'm just talking out of my ass more than I usually do. And would you look at that, everybody? It looks like it's about that time. I hope I was able to make my point clear enough. Not that there really was a major point to begin with. I just felt like finally talking about this idea that I've had going on in my head for quite a while now. Comfort games is a phenomenon that is very special. Every game has the potential to be comfort food for the right person. For me, it's Diablo 3 and League of Legends. For others, it might be Terraria or Minecraft. And for some, of course, it is going to be Runescape. Many people stop playing over long periods of times, but as the great and wise Jimmy once said, you never really quit RuneScape, you only take breaks. But like a nice thing of chocolate chip cookies on a hot summer day, you will always be back again to have some. Thank you all so much for watching me ramble about this for however long this video ends up being. I really do appreciate any and all the support you give my small channel. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.